Hello, my name is Xonevant. Today is Thursday, January the 29th, and we're going to discuss religion today. Not necessarily what you believe, if you believe anything, but why you believe it. Let's get right into it on today's Daily Dose. So I grew up in North Carolina, and there was 3 basketball teams at the collegiate level that you kind of found yourself gravitating towards, right? And you kind of had to choose one of these teams because, that's just the way it worked back in middle school and high school. You had to be a fan of one of these teams. It was either Duke Blue Devils, North Carolina State, which was the Wolfpack, or the North Carolina Tar Heels. Now, my team was the North Carolina Tar Heels. That just wasn't my team. It was actually the team of not just my immediate family, but just all my family members in general, right? We chose to cheer for the North Carolina Tar Heels. And I remember it, man, just like it was yesterday. Me, my dad, and my mom maybe not so much, but me, my dad, and my brother would get in there, man, and every single North Carolina ball game that would come, whether it be basketball or football or whatever, we were in there, man. You know what I mean? We had the chips and the drink, and we were doing the whole like guy thing, and we were cheering, and we were throwing pillows across the room because we were excited, and sometimes we were throwing pillows across the room because we were upset because they were losing, and that was just the way that it worked back in the day. And I remember doing this at such a young age. I mean, before I even knew what a point guard was, or a small forward, or a center, or any of that stuff, I remember cheering as if I knew what that stuff was all about. I remember, just basically mimicking what I saw my older brother do, because he knew a little bit more about things than I did. And then, of course, my dad, if my dad would cheer, even though I really didn't know what was going on, I would be like, I'd be cheering too, because that's just what you do when you're a kid. Now, I kind of said all that to say this. I think that sometimes with religion and what you believe, right, I think a lot of it has to do with where you're born in this world, because and I've studied religion. I studied religion in college. I don't know, maybe some of you guys don't know that, but I studied religion in college, and I did religion and business, and I've got theology books and world religion books, and I've studied it all. I've read tons of material on it, and I know how many religions there are out there, and there's even probably more unorganized religions, meaning the ones that we don't know that exist. Some weird village in some third world country that nobody's ever heard of, they might in fact have their own state of beliefs, and so these are ones that we don't even know, that we can't even fathom. So, and there's tons of them out there. And I think a lot of times what happens is, and I'll draw the parallel to sports, right? Growing up in middle school and high school, because I chose to cheer for the Tar Heels, I would go to school with my Tar Heel shirt on, and what I knew about basketball even at a young age, and I would tell everybody that Tar Heels was #1. You know what I mean? And I had that mantra about things, right? Like the Tar Heels, the jam, son. Them jokers, they can't be beat. They're #1, son. And I carried that with me, and I was almost, in a way, kind of preaching it or telling people about it, as if I was a die-hard believer in this team so much that was how kind of I identified myself, right? And then people who cheered for the Blue Devils or North Carolina State Wolfpack, they automatically hated you, man. And I'm not talking about some weird kind of fake hate, but they hated you, bro. They ridiculed you and stuff like that, and you would do the same thing to them. And it was like this weird war that you would put yourself in middle school and high school, just because you were a fan of a team. It automatically, as soon as people knew that you supported Carolina Tar Heels or whoever your team was, the other 2 sets of people automatically hated your guts. You see what I'm saying? And it seems to be the same way with beliefs around the world, right? As soon as somebody finds out your belief, right, it's not like they ask you questions anymore about, well, why do you believe that? And, they're interested in what you believe, and they're respectful of what you believe. They immediately go to the other side of the fence and they go, oh, you don't believe what I believe, right? In other words, you don't like the same basketball team I like? I hate you. I want to ridicule you. I want to pick on you. I want to, demean you and that sort of stuff. And that's why I'm trying to draw the parallel between, you know, how I grew up as a kid and religion itself. And it's just kind of ironic to me how that whole thing works, you know. And I've been asked by a lot of you guys, you know, do I have some type of belief system? And like I said, this video is not necessarily for everybody to, you know, spill their beans about their belief system, because I think to a degree that stuff is personal and private, and unless you just want to share it, there's no need for you to share it, because like I said, there is that mindset that as soon as somebody knows what you believe, their opinion of you will drastically change based on that belief system. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that, you know, there are so many belief systems out there, religions or whatever you want to call them, that, you know, trying to respect people for what they believe is probably the right course of action. But we treat it as if we're that middle school kid who supports that basketball team and it's diehard for that basketball team, and we're so diehard into that team or our religion that we'll automatically write off all the other ones as faults, and you're stupid for believing that. And I just kind of wish that wasn't the case. And I guess that kind of leads me back to the purpose of this video is like I said, not to necessarily find out what each one of you believe individually, right? And like I said, you can share that in the comments if you'd like, but you don't have to. That's not the purpose. The purpose of the video is to ask you why. If you believe something, if you believe a religion out there, why do you believe it? You know, is it because you were raised in a country where everybody believes that same thing, and you just continue to believe it on through adulthood or however old, you know, old you are? Or, you know, maybe you believe it because you grew up in it and you matured and you still believe in it because you've researched all the other religions, and for whatever reason that one still rings true to you. You see what I'm saying? That one still makes the most sense for you. Or maybe you don't believe in anything, and that's quite all right too. You know, I think accepting people for their beliefs or non-beliefs in anything is a big part of culture. And I think that if we can break down that barrier of, you know, you don't believe what I believe, or, you know, getting back to my sports team analogy, oh, you don't like the Tar Heels, you know what I'm saying? Then you're crazy or whatever. I think that's where the rubber meets the road, and I think that's where we can grow as a culture. So, you know, that's kind of, you know, where I want to go with the comments in this, guys, is like I said, if you believe something, why do you believe it? You know, because I think a lot of times people believe things just like I grew up. You know, I thought the Tar Heels was the best team ever, not because I knew stats, not because they were actually better. You know, I just believed them because my daddy believed they were awesome, and my brother thought they were cool, and so I was like, well, I'm the same way. But I think a lot of people grow up in religion, you know, based on where you are in the country, and they'll believe whatever that religion calls them to believe because they're told to believe that as a kid, and they just keep believing that as they get older, rather than trying to actually get out there and research religion itself, research the different cultures that are out there. I mean, it's fascinating if you've studied as much as I have different religions, how many there are and how unique they are. And, you know, as crazy as you think that they are, quote unquote, it's really unique, right? And I think that's kind of what I want to drill down in this particular video. So I know this is kind of a serious video, but it's always been something that I've wanted to talk about on the channel, but just never have gotten around to. So let me know what you guys think about it in the comments below. And maybe I'll do a follow-up video, maybe, depending on some of the feedback, and we can take it from there. You guys be good.